What is it about identical twins or identical siblings that fascinates us so much?
Well, identical twins fascinate us so much because I think that we all learn over our lifetimes that everyone is unique. Everyone is different. Everyone has a unique set of genes, unique set of physical characteristics and behaviors. So when we can't encounter two people, identical twins, who look and act so much alike, it challenges our beliefs in the way that the world works. And it intrigues us because it's different. And we try to understand, how can this be? How can two people be so closely aligned in so many ways? And the other thing that intrigues us about twins is the closeness. Identical twins have a social bond that I think goes beyond any other type of human social relationship. Some people envy that relationship. Some people are put off by that degree of closeness. But I think it's a tantalizing relationship for most people because it's so effortless. And I think all of us would love to have a relationship that was so close and so accepting and so non-judgmental.
And the mirroring of their behaviours and some of their physical traits, it's quite extraordinary sometimes, isn't it?
It's extraordinary when you see the degree of similarity between identical twins, whether they're raised apart or raised together. And I think it's not any kind of coincidental explanation. I think that their similarities are largely rooted in their genetic commonalities, which give rise to their similar behaviors, similar information processing strategies, similar physical characteristics. So even when identical twins meet later in life, it's very easy for them to form a very natural and close social bond with one another.
So even when they are reared apart, we still see these characteristics so very strongly. Does that tell us that it's all about nature?
We are combinations of nature and nurture. It's never one or the other. I think the difference now is that we understand that nature plays a much larger role in our behaviors and our physical development than we ever would have anticipated. What we believe happens with identical twins raised apart is that from the different opportunities in their environments, they gravitate towards certain things that they enjoy, that they're good at. And because they do share the same genetic propensities, they're going to be attracted to the same thing. In 1980, a set of identical triplets that were separated by Louise Wise and placed into 3 separate homes met accidentally. And that is what ultimately led to the exposure of the fact that these 3 young men, from babies onward, that these 3 triplets, as well as other sets of twins, had been studied, followed very closely by a research team led by Dr. Neubauer. What happened was that they reunited in 1980, and of course they got a lot of publicity. And there was a journalist in Texas, Larry Wright, who was quite interested in their case, and when it came out that they had done the separation through the Louise Wise Agency, and there was reference to a study done in New York City, a paper that came out in 1986, I believe that Larry Wright put 2 and 2 together and figured out that these particular triplets had been studied by that agency in conjunction with the research team.
Doctor, from what we know now, what was the Neubauer study trying to achieve?
Dr. Peter Neubauer was very interested in questions of nature and nurture. To what extent are we products of our genes, and to what extent are we products of our environment? And he felt that by studying twins from a very early age, that is, from birth, and tracking their development, seeing how their parents raised them, seeing how they respond to certain kinds of events and people in their environment, that he would get a better handle on this.
Did Neubauer think he was going to solve this perennial question of nature versus nurture?
Reading between the lines, I think that Neubauer felt that he was going to solve the nature-nurture question for good. However, his sample size was quite small. There were 4 sets of identical twins and 1 set of triplets for a total of 11 children. There's not a lot you can say about that, even though the observations went on until the children were 12 and were done very intensively. But it's a very, very small sample. It is somewhat arrogant to think that the study you're going to do is going to end a problem that's been around for so many years and that it's going to end it in a definitive kind of way. Researchers today are still grappling with nature-nurture questions and studying and many, many different types of behaviors. There were other pairs of twins that were separated by Louise Wise that were not in the study. And I know of several sets of non-identical or fraternal twins who were separated at birth, but were not included in the study. 2 of the identical twin pairs met through mistaken identity. That is, that people saw them and thought they were the other twin, and that's how they got together. And that's how the triplets met as well. But at any rate, these were twins who were placed in separate homes and, of course, separated at birth and did not know that they were growing up as twins, nor did their parents, until some of them met accidentally when they were young adults.
Are you telling me this whole Machiavellian thing was based on the personal theory of one person?
That's correct. It's hard to imagine that, isn't it? That one person's decision can affect the lives of so many in such a consequential way.
Hello, I'm Liam Bartlett. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.